Hello everybody and welcome to Creativity with Don Allen III live. We are live streaming on YouTube and on Instagram as we speak. And I'm trying to get the settings to work properly, so give me a couple seconds just to make sure that the settings are working. I'm going to here, go to live chat. It says live chat is disabled for this live stream. I don't know why. I'm trying to enable it on YouTube, but it's not letting me click anything. So that's going to make it a little hard to work. But thank you, Pug, for sending that documentation. Hello, folks here on Instagram. We're going to be doing a live stream on YouTube. I'm going to show you how to 3D sculpt a character again. We're going to do some 3D workflows. But for whatever reason, it's not letting me turn on chat. I would like to be able to add chat. It says unable to create highlights, unable to add stream marker. It should be the live stream settings in here. I jump into live stream settings, and then it says live chat is disabled for this live stream. And that, I don't know. It says it's turned on, but it also says it's disabled. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. That's okay. I have slow internet. Oops. That's just the nature of the game here. You said flip the cam? Oh, good call. Let's flip the camera. So this is what I'm seeing, Pug. So I tried the technique. I went to the gear icon, and it opens up this. And then there's a tab here. It says live chat, and I click on it. And then when I go onto here, it says live chat is disabled for this stream, even though it says that it's turned on. But these are not clickable. I can't click anything. It's all grayed out. So I'm not totally sure what's going on here. I would really like to get the live comments to work here, because that would be fun to have. That's kind of like the perks of live streaming, is the conversations. So I don't know why they wouldn't just have that on as default. I'm with you too, Bug. Yeah, it's not letting me click it on. I went to my stream settings, and I don't know. It's not letting me. It's not letting me add chat. It's not enabling it. Yeah, I got the manage. No, edit. It lets me change the name of it, and maybe it's because I have yes, it's made for kids. Oh my gosh, that's it. Features like personalized ads and live chats won't be available on live streams made for kids. Oh, that's okay. That's actually a good thing. It's made for safety. Wow, we're learning together. I'm new to Instagram live, or new to YouTube streaming. So I'm gonna say no, it's not made for kids, and then save it. Okay. All right, it's doing something. It's updating. Whoa! Now we have comments enabled. That's so weird. Pop out chat. Okay. Wow, that's interesting. I think they had some major lawsuit that happened where they were collecting, Google was collecting information on children, and then they lost the lawsuit, and then as a result, they had to disclose whenever they're collecting information that is from children, and I think that's why the chat was disabled. So now that I said the stream is not for children, that makes it so that chat is enabled on YouTube Live. Okay. So yeah, that's really weird. All right. Let me know, Don. Oh yeah, if you can check it out, Pug. Let me know if the comments are working now. If you write a word in here, let me see. I'm gonna write some words. Words. All right. Does that do anything? Do words appear? I mean, it looks like the chat's working now. Okay. On to the actual thing today. What we're gonna be doing today is I wanted to show you, some cool 3D stuff. That's what I usually like to do these times of the evenings. I'm trying to create a schedule for when to create these live streams and give them a more, formal home. But yeah, just let me know, Pug, if you go to YouTube, if that link is gonna work or not. Oh yay! It does work. Thanks, Pug. I see you on chat. Okay, cool. So welcome everybody to the start of trying to get YouTube to work. What I want to show you today is how to just dive right in the 3D sculpting characters. Where I start off is I usually go onto Pinterest. All right, so I got Pinterest up, and I use this free tool called Pureref. It's a P-U-R-E ref. I'm opening it up right here. It's called Pureref. Pureref is an awesome tool for loading up your reference images to have them always float in front of your screen like this. So let me just close out that little ad. And watch how easy it is to add stuff in here. So if I see a cool character that I like this really nice stone crystal crab. I really like this character for whatever reason in this test. I'm going to just drag it from Pinterest into Pureref. And look at that. Now this just lives on top of my screen at all times. So I can zoom into here. I can place it over here. You know, I can look around it, and it's perfect. So this is a great way to collect reference footage without having to download it like manually and going to file, save, and all that stuff. Oh, thank you, Pug, for helping me moderate on YouTube. That'll be awesome. So, anywho, let's find some reference images. If you have some feedback, if you have some ideas of what things you might want to see sculpted this evening, I'm totally open to that. So, Pinterest kind of has an understanding of what kind of stuff I like visually. So, you know, even though I haven't even searched anything in Pinterest, it knows that generally speaking, stuff that's stylized and 3D, cyberpunk aesthetic, futuristic, robots, cartoons, it knows that that's kind of stuff that I'm going to like to consume. So just going down here and looking for some more stuff. I mean, I really like that crystal creature. Let me go click on that and see if there's anything that's similar to it. All right, so they got some different variations. Oh, this is a cool little creature. Look at this guy. It's like a chameleon. I like it. I'm going to drag that in here as a reference. And that's what I like about Pureref, is that you can just drag stuff into here and it just floats in front of your window. And this is so nice when you're 3D sculpting, because then you don't have to like keep minimizing windows just because you want to see something. Ooh, a unicorn. Actually, a unicorn might be really hard for me to sculpt. We can maybe do a unicorn head, but the legs of a unicorn or a horse in that sense are quite difficult. I'm liking this really stylized lizard creature. It looks like it's just vibing here in the sun. It's got a pretty cool vibe. I'm going to drag that in here. Just getting because oftentimes I start my tutorials without my reference up here. So some people are asking, how do you get your reference into your shot, and what tool are you using to have your references float in front of your window at all times? The tool is called Pureref for those that are joining now, and it's Pureref stands for Pure Reference. And then you can just drag stuff in, Google Images and all sorts of things. Yes, thank you so much, Pug. Pug left it in the chat. If you're joining in this live stream later, you can do the chat replay. You'll be able to see that we're using the software called Pureref to get the reference images. But question, is that what you guys want to see this evening? Do any of these characters look appealing? Like, do you want to see these turn into like a 3D model? I mean, I kind of like this one, mostly because it's like a crystal. I might want to do something different instead of these wings. Like, I like this crab crystal kind of thing, maybe as like a frame of reference, but I won't use it entirely. But we are streaming here on YouTube if you want to see the full quality here. We got a much better microphone. Pug, how's the audio? Oh, that was weird on my end. Your internet, Don? Oh no, my internet's bad. Yeah, sorry about that. It's probably because I'm streaming onto both devices right now. Well, hang in there. Who is here, Don? Nobody is here, except for my buddy Pug. We're doing some tests, but I want to start the stream now, so... Cool, I got some references. I like this kind of, friendly, cartoony look, and now I want to, make this come to life. So what we're going to do is open up a tool called Zbrush Core Mini. This program, Zbrush Core Mini, is free. It is made by the company Pixelogic, which makes ZBrush, which is very much a standard when it comes to 3D sculpting workflows. But they're not cheap, right? Because, ZBrush is not for free. But ZBrush Core Mini, the tool that we're using right here, is free. It's their approach to a free solution. So let's just get right into it. I like this character a lot, so we might start off with that. I also kind of like this crab creature. What should we do? Okay. Well, we just got to start. So when in doubt, just start applying clay and moving it. So I'm going to grab my move brush and increase the brush drawing size and kind of just create the main volumes of this crab-like creature. Oh, it's a fly? I see what you mean. Yeah, I can see how that's also a fly. Okay, so I'm just kind of grabbing the largest volumes of the character. We're going to grab that snake hook tool and also use that to kind of build up some forms. We got our main clay buildup, so I'm just going to add some of this body here, and then let's kind of just smooth this geometry out. Cool. It's not looking like anything yet, but it never does in the very beginning, so it's just going to look really weird and disturbing for the first few strokes. All right, let's move some geometry out there for the arms that we're going to make later. So I'm just going to make those into little hooks, and then let's drag out some little crab legs. Cool. I'm probably not going to go for a one-for-one recreation of it, but I will do, you know, inspiration from, inspiration from it. Okay, so we're just going to smooth out some of these forms, create some of these shapes in here. Cool. Within about 30 seconds, we've gotten a rough shape of some creature. I think mine's going to look way scarier than that one, just because I know how this goes. I start making it, and then all of a sudden it gets creepy. And then, you know, the chances are very high that that's going to happen again. But I just like this, whatever this creature is, as a, as a reference, as a place to start from. And then we're gonna, of course, try to make it into our own thing. But I like to just start off from reference. Pug, thank you so much. It says, if I did a spam of emojis here, Don, you'll know I'm here, and you'll know it's a test. Yes, I'll catch it. Thank you, Pug. All right, so now I'm gonna grab the inflate brush here. I'm just going to inflate the geometry of the hands. This is going to give us the space that we need to sculpt the claws. Yeah, so I'm just kind of creating that space. And we're not even using a stylus right now. Right now we're just using mouse and keyboard for this early stage. Once I get more into like refining, I might want to use a nicer like stylus or something, but for now we're just using our mouse and our keyboard. We're kind of creating the general shape of these hook claw things that this creature has. I'm going around all the edges and trying to smooth it out. Okay, cool. Let's make a little bit of a divot there. Great, and now I'm going to use my clay buildup brush to subtract out some space for the claw. So I'm just going to carve right in until we get a nice flat projection here. Cool, so we just kind of carved right into that model. If you ever want to carve into your models inside of Zbrush Core Mini, you can hold the Alt key, and that's going to do the opposite of whatever brush you have. So if you're using the clay buildup to add, to subtract, you're going to hold Alt and then drag on it, and you can see how it subtracts geometry. Pug says, scroll your chat up, down on your right. Oh, good call. Thank you. Yay. Thank you, Pug. Seriously. Helping me get the stream to life in my early days of streaming onto YouTube. Okay, so we got this kind of weird creature going for us right now. Let's work on that eyeball and just smooth out some of that geometry. And let's work on that mouth shape. And then let's give him a little round belly. And then smooth out all that geometry. Cool. Let's move it up and work on that crab shell. Kind of just going around and creating that shell body for that creature. Okay, we're just kind of using our clay buildup brush for the most part. I'm going to smooth out the belly a little bit more because it's just looking like a little bit too bulbous compared to what the character looks like. Great, we're going to go back to our clay buildup brush, reduce the brush size a bit, and just go into here and just add some more forms to the creature. Cool. All right, now we're going to work off of the legs here and add some more. I mean, it's looking kind of fun and cool. Oh, thanks, Hot Jesus. for joining me on Instagram. We're currently streaming live onto YouTube, so if you want to see the full screen with all of the details and a better microphone, it should be pretty good. Also, Don, do you have dual monitors? Believe it or not, I don't have a dual monitor on this PC, and I don't know why. Thank you for reminding me. I'll probably just buy a monitor this week, because then I could have chats up the whole time while... Yeah, that's a really good observation. I should definitely just get my second monitor in here. Okay, cool. So we got this rough shape made here of our character. Love your stuff and your sculpting skills. Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Jesus. Hot Jesus. Okay, so let's get in closer. And what I'm going to do is pull up my my drawing pad here. So I have a Wacom tablet, an old one, but it still works. You know, I know they've made lots of other products and stuff, but I still use the old one because it works wonderfully. You know, they made their product too good. I didn't need to get another one after they made all these new updates and stuff. Apparently, like more pressure sensitivity and lower latency on its end. So all that's great if you care about that stuff. But it's also just fine. I just can't find my pen. Where I put the pen? Definitely need that. Pen, pen, pen. Where are you at? I don't see it. Give me 1 second, folks. I need to pull up the pen so I can start sculpting more details. Give me a second. Going underneath the desk here, because I think I might have dropped it on the floor. I gotta say, the blue lighting is not great for finding stuff in your room. It's pretty dark in here. I thought it would look cool for the stream, but it's very impractical. Okay. Yeah, blue light, not doing it for me right now. I might need to change this as well. I found a USB stick, but I cannot find my stylus. Maybe this is why I don't use it a lot, because I always lose the stylus, and then I'm just forced to just draw with my mouse and keyboard. I found it. It was underneath a battery pack for my smart gloves. Okay, it's gonna work though. It's not working. Let's try plugging it back in here. All right, all of this should work now. Okay. Yay, our stylus is in. Sorry about that. Whew. Okay, we're back. So, now we have our stylus ready for us to work. Let me just move my keyboard. I need to move this wire out of the way. It's a little hard to draw. Okay, so we're back in ZBrush Core Mini. I got the Wacom stylus and tablet in here, so now we can go in here and sculpt a lot more details. So let me go in much closer with this like pen tool and just kind of sculpt in some forms around the claws here. Good old claws, and then we're going to go ahead and add a little bit more detail, a little bit of detailing on top of these little weird leg things. Just doing little tiny strokes here, just building up material. We have symmetry turned on. You can turn symmetry on and off, which is really nice, but I'm okay with keeping it for now. Next, I'm going to grab our move tool and just kind of move these feet down to make them a little bit sharper. So I'm just going to kind of pull on these little feet, these little tiny claw feet things, and create a little bit more space between them. So I'm just going to kind of push these apart here. There we go. Question from Hot Jesus on Instagram says, how can we apply moving or animated textures on our 3D objects? Wonderful question. If you make materials inside of Substance Designer, it's a program I don't actually stream enough. You can make the actual procedures that make a texture. And you can bring in Substance Designer files into programs like Maya, into programs like Blender, into programs like Cinema 4D, and you can animate the parameters of their brushes in those third-party programs. Another way to animate textures is usually offset is available. So if you take any texture that you want it to be animated, you can usually animate offset inside of most 3D programs if they're cool. So you can animate those, and that kind of allows you to animate textures. But if you want like really advanced stuff, like if you want something to grow onto a texture, you know, or if you want something like just more advanced, then you might want to use a tool like Houdini or Cinema 4D to cache in that the animated textures. But yeah, you can totally animate textures. It's definitely a more advanced feature. I should probably do a tutorial on that now that I think about it. So those are kind of fun. But I'm actually not all that skilled in it because I don't practice enough in that area. But you know, just hearing it now kind of reminds me that maybe it's something I should practice a bit more, just so that it's an option that we could play with more. All right, so what I'm doing, part of my process that I've actually just seen this from other people, and I think it's just a good tip for sculpting, is you add a bunch of masks, you add a bunch of clay, and then you smooth out that volume. And this helps you like build out forms. Like you create your forms with your clay brush, and then you smooth it out so that you can kind of help define those like core shapes that it needs to stay into, which I think is, you know, kind of cool. I'm going to smooth out this transition here though. Maybe add some clay into this space and then smooth that out. Okay, so it looks more like a hard shell. Yeah, I like grow. I think you got it. Got it. So yeah, if you want the textures to grow, you do need to use definitely a more advanced 3D program, like like the ones I described, like Houdini or something, or Cinema 4D. You can do it in Cinema. Okay, cool. So let's create these little like folds that happen underneath the belly. So I'm just going to kind of add some mass and then just smooth those out. One brush that they recently added to ZBrush Core Mini is the oh, did they not add it? Maybe it was a dream. I thought they added the Crease Brush. They call it slash here. So if you use the slash brush, you can create little slashes. And then if you use the slash with the pinch brush, you can pinch those together, because like a lot of like reptile and amphibian creatures have these really cool folds underneath their body like this. And so using that slash brush, we can carve in those shapes that we want, right? So you can carve in these like harder shapes. Then we use the pinch brush to flatten those lines, to make the lines a little bit tighter around those edges. And that kind of creates a nice like defined belly for our character. Okay, cool. Let's do some more detailing work on the claws. Okay, so looking at the claws, the top of the claw should be much larger than the bottom claw, if I'm looking at my reference here. How do I zoom in with the stylus though? Oh, there we go. So let's do that. Let's go to our clay buildup brush, and I'm going to add a lot more clay to the top claw. Seeing some breakage here, so let's just smooth it out and then add some more clay on the bottom of the claw. Add some more clay, smooth it out. And you'll see a lot of this stuff is very similar to previous steps. You want to just kind of add material. Someone asked me last week, does illustration help you in 3D sculpting? The answer is yes. Now, if you're not good at illustration, you can still do 3D sculpting, but it might be easier if you do 3D modeling more or less. What do I mean by that? Well, 3D sculpting is what we're seeing here. It's where you're doing a lot of this kind of organic manipulation of polygons. We're doing brush strokes, we're smoothing things out, we're pushing and moving clay around. So it's a very organic like way of approaching 3D. So it lends itself to, you know, if you have practice illustration, it will help a lot. But if you don't have practice in illustration, but you still want to do some cool stuff in 3D, I might recommend modeling. 3D modeling is a little different than 3D sculpting, in that 3D modeling is when you're actually typing in numbers. So you might say, like, I want to move a certain polygon a certain amount of, a certain number of spaces, or you might want to use 3D modeling to enter an exact value of how much something should stretch or break. The terms are used interchangeably quite a bit, so if you try to look up what is the difference between the two, you might find that it's a little hard to, you might find the differences are nuanced. So, I mean, I'm just telling you here, it's kind of like that. So 3D sculpting is more organic way of approaching 3D design, and 3D modeling is more of a mechanical, technical way of approaching 3D design. If you can get skills in both, you're going to be really happy, because then no matter what no matter what's needed, you'll have strength in them. But if I don't know which one's better to start in. Oh, we got a question. Oh wow, we got some folks joining us here on YouTube. Thank you for joining. Sujit Paul says, "Hey Don," and I say, "Hey, welcome." He says, "What's up, buddy?" Oh, nothing much. I'm just trying to stream onto YouTube, or I'm still trying to find what is the best home for live educational content that helps future-proof people for all this cool extended reality kind of stuff that's happening. And I'm still just trying to experiment with what is the best platform for me to share this kind of content on. And so in the last couple weeks, I've been experimenting with different platforms, and this is my latest test. I'm trying to see, does streaming on YouTube feel better, or worse? Each one of these has their strengths and weaknesses, of course. So I'm trying to see what works the best for me, and also what works best for you. In terms of what's actually a useful way of learning this kind of stuff. Oh, he says, hell yeah, cool. Well, yeah, that's what we're doing. All right, so I'm going to go in here and carve out a little bit of space right above the top of the claw here. So I'm looking at the reference here, and there's a nice little gap of space. So I'm just going to carve out a little bit of geometry, and then add a little bit of geometry on the top here, and then smooth it out, just to create some more physical separations, just to make it look a little bit more intentional with its shapes in here. Okay, so we got this nice form here for our crab-like creature. I'm not totally thrilled with the claws yet, so let me keep working on the claws. What I might want to do is maybe use the snake hook brush and pull out the tip of the claw to make it sharper. There we go. That feels a little bit funner to me, more cartoony, just to have like these little more curvature to the claw. Let's get a little bit closer to the claw and do the same snake hook pull on the back corners of the claw to just, again, sharpen these edges to push it into a more stylized look. Be careful when you use the snake hook brush, because it is a really strong brush. It's usually, I try to use it lightly, because it will change the form of your character, of your model, so fast. Oh, hello, Black Jesus. Welcome on YouTube. It's a pleasure to have you here. If you have any questions about what we're working on, let me know. Right now I'm just kind of sculpting out these hands, or not hands, these claws. Claws. I'll need to start making some more content for Halloween, so maybe I can turn this into something really creepy, or maybe I'll keep it more lighthearted. It just depends. Yeah, it just depends. Alright, so I'm just going to smooth that out here. Cool, so now we got this nice defined major claws in the front. Now let's pay some more attention to the front hood, the front face of our character. So let's just kind of pull it to the front here. Great. Alright, so looking at our reference image, we got more volume coming straight down here. So I'm just going to build up some mass to create this kind of straight edge. And then we're going to curve that into the top here. Awesome, awesome. Then we're going to add some volume into there and smooth all that geometry out. Great. Great. Alright, now we're going to carve out some more geometry. And I'm seeing some weird separation here. Let me just try to smooth that out. Let's kind of go into the hood of our creature, our one-eyed creature. This might be a wonderful opportunity for the H polish brush. Oh, we got some questions in the comments. It's actually 20 seconds delay from Instagram. Oh, wow, that's a pretty big delay. Okay, that's good to know. Is the delay making it hard to understand what's happening? Let me know, Black Jesus, let me know, Pug, in YouTube comments if the stream is hard to follow because of the delay. Because if that's an issue, then I might have to end the live stream on one of these platforms so that I could have more bandwidth in the other ones. Okay, so the brush I'm using right now is called the H Polish brush, and what it does is it just tries to flatten out geometry. See that? It just kind of flattens things out. So if you ever want to make something with like a hard edge or a hard surface, it's a really nice brush just to go in there with, because it's just going to flatten your edges. It's great for creating hard surface modeling, which I'm okay with doing here for the shell, because it should be a harder material. All right, Matthew says it's 50-50 standards. Oh no. Okay, that's good to know. Darn, hope the video isn't too slow. Sir XJ on Instagram says Acer Helios 300 good to 3D animation. I don't know what that is, but if it's something good for 3D animation, then I'm probably going to be for it. I'm a big fan of 3D animation, man. Big fan. That's what I do. All day. And then all night. And then on the weekends. That's what I love. That's why. Okay. Cool. Let's work on this eye thing. Part of me is thinking of doing the eye in a separate program like Cinema 4D, because it's just going to be a sphere, but part of me wants to see, you know, a more finished product inside of here. So I'm just kind of tempted to add. I'm always tempted to add more detail than less, even if it hurts me later on. So I'm just going to kind of add a nice rounded eyeball here. Let's create a line for the eye fold. There we go, and then we'll smooth out the top there. It's just a nice calm eye shape. Cool, and then let's reduce that drawing size for our brush, get in real close and personal. Whoa, super close and personal. You can barely even see what I'm doing. Whoa, how do I zoom out? Okay. How do I zoom out? Ah, it's not like Cinema 4D. You can't zoom out like that. That's so frustrating. I think I have to click the background and zoom out. That's doo-doo. Okay, looks like the other option is to click the zoom button on screen and then drag the cursor up and down. I guess I'll just have to get used to doing that. I'm not used to doing that, because Cinema 4D lets you zoom into whatever you're looking at, and it lets you even zoom in on an object without clicking on it. So that's what I'm used to doing, so it just feels a little weird to not be able to do that, but hey, it's a free program. Got to deal with it. Some of its quirks. Alright, so we got this shape going for us. Now I'm going to grab that crease brush from earlier. Where is it? Sorry, it's not called crease, it's called slash. Keep mixing up because Cinema 4D and Maya both call this a different tool. So I'm going to use a nice crease brush in here. And we're going to grab the pinch brush and then pinch that geometry in together to create a really tight line. And then we'll zoom out and rotate. Cool. Alright, let's do F to fit everything into frame. Alright, some questions in the comments here on YouTube. Says, I'm here learning with Don and now, and that's what I'm trying to learn. Matthew, by the way, Black Jesus, there is a lot of stuff I can tell you guys. Yay! Yeah, Pug's been here in this content for a long time, so he knows a lot of answers to questions that come up. So if I miss a question, let me know, but there's a good chance that Pug might have you covered. Thank you, Pug, always. Alright, so we got this kind of the main bottom part done. Let me work on some of these back legs a little bit. To be honest, this might have been funner to do in virtual reality, so maybe I should have done this in VR. We should have sculpted this in VR. But I haven't done live VR sculpting to YouTube. I feel like that's too much bandwidth for my internet. So we'll work with what we got. Alright, so we're going to smooth out some stuff here and maybe increase that drawing size. So I'm just smoothing out that leg, It's going to make a little bit of a separated mass buildup here. Great, let's grab that snake hook and snake hook the feet out to make them more crabby-like. Wow, these are very long legs. That's okay. We'll just work with it. Alright, and then we'll do the same thing back here. Just kind of pull on these legs for the nice crab look. I don't know what crab looks like this. I hope I don't see a crab like this in real life, because that would be pretty freaky, right? Where is it? Move brush. Let's go to our move brush and just move some of that geometry. Boop, boop, boop. Actually, I want to move it more outwards than I do sideways. Or sorry, more outwards than backwards. Alright, just going to push and pull on the back of the turtle shell here. I mean, it's kind of like a turtle shell. I know this is not a turtle, but it has a turtle shell kind of feeling to me, which is what I'm seeing in my brain here. Alright, so we're on the back tailbone of our character. We're going to subtract some geometry from the groin, and then just add a little bit more mass to, wow, for whatever reason the Alt key is not working. There we go. There we go. So I want to create more separation. I probably am going to rig this character. But the thing is, I'm not going to do a walk cycle because I can barely do a walk cycle on a 2D character in a live stream. Can definitely do it maybe off camera. Animation takes a lot longer than you might actually expect. And that's something I have to keep explaining to my clients and collaborators. Because like I'll do something really fast and then it accidentally shoots me in the foot, because then they're like, oh, you mean you can do all stuff fast? And I'm pretty fast at this stuff, but there's certain tasks that are still just not fast for anybody at any studio. I know AI is on its way to try to speed up a lot of those things, but it still has a ways to go before it's like totally usable. But that's a whole nother topic. Alright, so we're just using that snake hook tool to just sharpen these edges, just to make it a little bit more stylized. That's what I want it to do. I want it more like a Pokemon style. A little bit. It's going to be more realistic than a Pokemon, but still, I just want it to be kind of stylized. You know what I mean? Stylized is definitely a very broad word. So how I'm using it in my mind right now is referring to shapes that are sharp and not normal for organic creatures. That's what I'm defining as stylized for this context. I love symmetry, man. Symmetry being turned on is so nice. All right, let me check some questions in the comments on YouTube. So Black Jesus says, yep, I want to sculpt models in Zbrush Core Mini and export them to Unreal for further edits. Oh, then you're going to love this. You can totally do that. This program saves it as a OBJ file, and then you can bring that OBJ file into Cinema 4D, or sorry, into Unreal Engine. Totally. That's in fact, I think that's a solid workflow. That being said, you might want to do some more model cleanup in Blender or something before you bring it into Unreal Engine. Actually, just kidding. Unreal Engine can handle a lot of polygons. Never mind. I take it back. I just had to think about that for a second. But in general, ZBrush Core Mini is going to be, in the hundreds of thousands of polygons. And game assets usually, I know I saw that demo with the PlayStation 5 where they had a scene which had about like 10 million polygons being relit, and it looked fine. But that was like a demo. I don't think that's going to be normal for all gameplay. At least not immediately, because developers are still going to have to make games that can support that kind of playback. So my point being is maybe before you bring your model into Unreal Engine, you might want to bring it into Blender or Cinema 4D to do a polygon reduction on it, because this is going to be a pretty heavy model. Speaking of which, let's save it. Oh no, Matthew, you're right. We should export this file as an object in case it crashes. Then it's like, outsourced and safe somewhere. So I'm going to go to my default drive. I'll go to Twitch tutorials, even though this is on YouTube and Instagram right now. And we'll just make this new folder here. We'll call this Crab Monster. I don't know. It just sounds fun. Crab Monster. I think I spelled all of that wrong. I'm just going to save that there. Okay, cool. Great. So even if the computer crashed right now, this whole model, even though I'm still working on it, is going to exist outside of the program. So important to do that with this program, ZBrush Core Mini. All right, so I'm getting second thoughts about the eyeball. I'm thinking it might be better to do it in Cinema 4D because then I can get a perfect sphere in there, but I'll leave it for now. We're also going to turn off symmetry, and the reason why is I want to create some cool little like asymmetry in our piece. So I'm going to grab my slash brush, and we're going to slash a dent into the side of the shell. Look at that. And now that symmetry's turned off, we can get this nice carving out into our, yeah, just a nice carving. And then we can go and grab our H polish brush and flatten the inside faces of that cutout. And now you got this nice stylized cutout in the shell. So now this creature, it's, you know, it's gone through some stuff, you know, it's got some battle scars. And then I'm going to use the pinch brush to tighten all of these edges to really push that stylized look. And it's going to be really nice when we start lighting this and stuff. When we start texturing in a little bit. It's going to be really nice to have that kind of extra detail modeled into our piece here. I think you learned a lot with him. Yep. You can learn a lot here. That's definitely my goal. Alright, next I'm going to show you this. Look at this. You can turn on polygons. Look at this. Look at those polygons. Do you see how many polygons we're talking about? This is 300,000 polygons right now. It's not like the most, but it's certainly a lot. So I'm going to make some teeth here. There we go. So I'm just first adding a bunch of geometry to where I want the tooth to grow from. Then I'm going to grab the snake hook and pull out the teeth. There we go. So I just made a little tooth. A little tooth. We're going to do the same thing here. 2 teeth. Great. And then we're going to turn off those polygons and we'll zoom in even closer. And then move our frame so we get the teeth nice and centered. Now we're going to add even more detail to the teeth. So we're going to go to our slash brush and even reduce the draw size down a bit and just carve it in around the teeth. Oh, went too far. There we go. So just by doing these little details and then pinching that down. Actually, no, before I pinch it, I'm going to grab my standard brush and just kind of build up some of the mouth geometry underneath here. Little things like this go a long way when you want to paint later on, because if we have this detail in here, it's going to be really fun to paint this tooth. You know, I don't know what it's going to look like exactly yet, color-wise, but you know, it's just fun. If you're not having fun doing this, then why are you doing it? Got to really ask yourself that. Okay, let me do a frame all. The teeth look a little messed up because we're seeing so much of the gums. So let me add some mask for the like jaw and lips. And actually, let's turn on symmetry again. I'm just adding some geometry here. We're going to hold shift is the smooth button. I should have mentioned that earlier. So you can hold shift to smooth out your geometry. So I'm just adding some clay, some of the lower lip here. Just going for a very cartoony look. So I'm okay with going exaggerated on the lips, on the forms of it too. Great. Now he's got some mean teeth in there. All right, West Hawkins on YouTube says, "Hey Don, really like your art and hard work." Oh wow, thank you so much. I like doing this stuff a lot too, and I'll be honest, I would be nowhere today if people on Instagram and YouTube and basically people online, if they weren't sharing how they do stuff, it would be very hard to learn. So I feel like, you know, I feel like it's not only the right thing to do to make these tutorials and give back, but it's also like, yeah, it is the right thing. I like doing this stuff, but it's also like it feels good in my heart. Because then I love how like when I show someone some cool tool like this, then they bring their own creativity to it, and they do stuff that I would have never even thought of. And it's just like so cool to see how much things can grow when you're open to teach. I remember when I first started getting into the idea of sharing all my secrets like this, I got a lot of resistance from some of my folks that were more classically trained in like the creative worlds. And they're like, you shouldn't do that. You're going to lose all your work. If you teach all your skills away, you know, no one's going to hire you. And I got to say, it's the exact opposite of that. That is complete BS. I've gotten more work in my life from doing all these tutorials than anything. So it's, you know, so I have my selfless reason. I like giving back. It feels good inside my heart. And then I also have my selfish reason. I actually get a lot of work from doing this stuff. Because oftentimes what I'll do is I'll be trying to kill two birds with one stone. I'll be actually working on something as a personal project, but I can reuse elements of it for a paid gig, which will save time for my customers later. And then they're like, how did you get this done so fast? And it's like, well, actually, I've been technically working on this for months. It just depends. Okay, cool. So we got this nice little front of the face going for us. I'm going to make a more detailed eyelid. I think I want to do a more detailed eyelid. So let's grab our clay buildup brush. I'm going to smooth out the current eyelid. I'm not liking it that much. It's just feeling too froggy. And then we're going to add some more mask. I'm going to increase the draw size a bit, not that much, but just a little bit here, and kind of smooth that out. Or we could make it like or we could just carve out an eyeball. That might be kind of cool too. Let me carve it in real quick and see if that's something here. I don't usually carve in eyeballs. I usually just do eyeballs as textures in and of themselves, but maybe it would be cool to have some like textured eyeball in here. Let's see. So I'm just adding some geometry. Ooh, wow, this is really increasing the polygon count. Maybe let's not do that. I'll stick to keeping the eyeball as a texture and not as geometry. So let me just smooth that back out because that's going to be too heavy. Okay, another question in the comments says, from Matthew says, because there is some stuff I forget and such. You get me, Black Jesus. Dylan Locke says, my left ear enjoys this. Interesting. I don't know what that means. Oh my God. Thank you, Dylan. My microphone is not centered right now. That's a hilarious and very useful comment. Thank you, Dylan. So let me move the microphone in front of me. And now we will begin the ASMR session. This is ASMR with Don Allen III here. So, anywho, hopefully the microphone should be a lot better now for both ears. I wish I could just turn on mono track. All right, so we got this crab creature mostly sculpted in its main forms. Now what I want to do is work a lot more detail into that shell, because the shell is kind of like bleh. But before we do, what we wanted to do is save our work. So I'm going to click this button to just literally export the whole thing out as geometry. I have found that ZBrush Core Mini is weird with saving. I try saving it as their unique file format, and I've lost my models a couple of times. So just a pro tip here, I found it's a lot safer just to export your entire geometry out than saving it as the native format that it comes with. All right, so we're going to add some more details to the shell now. So let's just create a different shelf of like mass. So I just kind of go in here with my clay buildup brush, and then I'm just smoothing out the top half of the difference so that we kind of create this layered effect of the shell. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Very fun. All right. Dylan, is the audio better on your left and right ear now? Is it now centered? Because I was not centered before. Please advise. Does it sound, if you have headphones in right now and you're listening to this on YouTube with my fancy microphone, does it sound like the stereo is working, or is my microphone broken and you're only hearing half of it? Matthew says, that's Professor Say to me, Don. To be honest, I'm not joking, like the one I took my digital media class. Don, I'm showing you how to overcome it. I think I missed a line in there. All right, so next thing we want to do is maybe sculpt in that crystal, because I like crystals a lot. Not the drug, but the art of them, the refraction of them, the lighting, the texture. Sounds like I have a problem, but I like it just for its visuals, not its actual addictive nature. Okay, enough of that. Let's make the crystal form. So what do? We're going to use the Move Brush. Boom, grab the Move Brush and we'll make it gigantic. We're just going to pull big chunks of the shell into the generic shape of the crystal that we want to form. Okay, and great. And let's make it a little bit wider on the insides here and a little bit back further, and then maybe, pull it in a little bit at the top. All right, so one problem with ZBrush Core Mini is you can't add more models. It can't add a separate mesh and then merge later. That's one huge problem, and for a lot of folks that might be a complete turnoff. You're like, why do you use this? But it's free, guys and gals. It's free. It's totally free. That's why I'm using it. It's just nice to, I pay so much for software. It's nice to have one that's just actually free. Okay, so I just kind of make the bulbous shape that we need. Next, I go in with the H polish brush, and then we can flatten out these faces to create the hard crystal edges that we see on crystals. So I'm just going in here with the hard H polish brush and creating these nice flat planes so that it looks more crystally. We'll worry about the transitions of the crystal into the shell later, but for now we just need to get that core crystal in there. H polish brush is awesome. It's an awesome brush. It's just, I wish I knew about it sooner. I could have used this on many projects in my past. So I'm here saving you the time and energy of not having to, that's the answer. There you go. This will save you time when you want to do hard surfacing, but you still want to stay in a sculpting kind of tool. Cool, so we kind of made this one singular crystal. That's why I love Blender for the free and dope services. That's a great point, Hot Jesus. Question, is Hot Jesus the same as Black Jesus in the YouTube comments? There's someone in here named Black Jesus, and then there's another person here on Instagram named Hot Jesus. Are you the same Jesus? Please advise. All right, we're going to grab our Move Brush and then kind of move that crystal in a little bit. Again, I'm going for that stylized look, so I'm just kind of pushing and pulling that geometry. Oh, we got a lot of questions and comments from Matthew in the stream. Let me just take a look, Pug, at what you got there. Let me see. Pug says, Don, you're showing us to overcome it. To be honest, you know why I try to learn it. Oh, I think I read that before. Some warning us, you put it in the internet, will haunt you forever. Oh, God, no, not the spooky ASMR, Don. Oh, yeah, sorry. It's not spooky. I would love to do ASMR. I think it's just fun. Question, do any of you listen to ASMR? And if so, do you feel comfortable sharing what you listen to? Or is that like a super personal thing? You don't talk about what ASMR you listen to. I need to know. All right, I'm going to reduce the brush size. There we go. Another pro tip. If you reduce the drawing size of your brushes with ZBrush Core Mini, it actually increases the resolution of the sculpture. So it's a quick way to get more details out of the model. Okay, cool. Next we're going to do is that same little breakup thing that we're seeing there. You see how there's like a bunch of different chunks of the crystal that are coming out of the different chunks of the shell that are coming out because the crystal's coming out? We're going to make that. So I'm going to go in here with the clay buildup brush and just create some just some breakage around the crystal. We'll be sculpting this into a much nicer form, but I just want to create some different mass there. Next, we're going to turn off our symmetry and add some asymmetry. Why do that? Well, because, symmetry is awesome, and I would love to use it more often for everything, but it turns out nature is not actually symmetrical like this. So if you want to make something appear more natural in its, forms, in its texture, in its environment, it's a good idea to add asymmetry to your work. Believe it or not, adding asymmetry in animation is a beautiful way to get more realism out of your characters and your performances when someone talks and part of their mouth moves more in a direction than the other, it just makes it seem more human, like because humans have very fascinating ways of speaking, and it's usually not symmetrical. Symmetrical is kind of like perfect symmetry is more equated to like robotic. Like if we're trying to make something look really robotic and dehumanized, then you might want to put a lot of symmetry into the motion of the character, because that's like not a natural way of moving for robotic characters. But if you want a character that's like a crab like this, that's organic, you definitely want to add a lot more asymmetry into them, just because they should be. Cool, we're going to grab that pinch brush and pinch the creases in together. This is important. We want to create these creases around here so that we get a nice defined edge difference between the shell and the crystal. There's a feature inside of another program that we'll be using today called Substance Painter that uses the curvature of the geometry to define where a texture can be projected. So if you have really good defined curvature baked into your model, like I'm doing here, by kind of creating nice little curves that really separate the different parts of the model, this is going to make it so much easier to texture when we get into that phase. The max is 750,000 polygons. Oh yeah, sorry. Did I miss a question? Sorry, it's hard for me to read everything. Hello, Chelsea Loves Slayers. Welcome. We are here streaming live onto YouTube, and we're streaming live onto Instagram. Why are we doing this? Well, I'm trying to grow maybe into YouTube a little bit. They have a little bit nicer tools for live stream content, and I don't know, maybe I just want to experiment. I just want to see if that's a better choice. I'm just testing the waters. Yeah. So anywho, we're just going to keep adding some mass here. I'm going to try to make it a little bit more of a gradual change from the hard shell to the crystal breaking out. Okay, that looks good. We got a nice breakage there. I might want to smooth out some of this geometry because this is still supposed to be made out of shell material. Great. Now let's grab the H polish brush. And let's turn on our symmetry again. And I'm just going to go around the edges and just create a nice flat faceted edges. Again, I love the H polish brush because it's so good at creating flat forms with, in a sculpting context. You don't have to leave here. All right, I'm also going to create some of those flat edges up close. Watch this. We go here and just kind of go into little circle shapes, and that creates these nice little flat edges so that it maybe looks like the crystal, like the shell is kind of breaking out a little bit. They're little details, but the thing is, if you care enough about your work to add these details, it's going to be experienced by somebody who's seeing your content, or seeing your augmented reality effect, or playing in your virtual game. If you just take just make it a little bit, just go a little bit extra effort on stuff, it really does pay off, I think, because then it just shows that you care. And then they might be more willing to be open to caring about what you care about by seeing just your energy and attention and care for it. That's my theory. It's been accurate so far, but I'm always open to counterexamples. All right, Black Jesus on YouTube says, can you give that crystal much height because it looks smaller than the reference image, I guess? Oh yeah, good point. Whoa, it is super small. Yeah, we can add some height to that crystal. It might be hard though in this program, but let's try it anyway. Before I do that, I'm going to export the model, call this blah, 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 and then hit save. Great. Oh, it's still saving. Let it do its thing up here at the top. All right, we're going to use the move tool like we've been using before, but this time we're going to increase the draw radius a ton. Be careful with that when you're sculpting, because this will change the shape and the form quite a lot. So it looks like I'm going to have to be more strategic with this movement. Yeah, I'll need to use the H polish again. Looks like a popsicle is coming out of the back versus a crystal, mostly because the top is more rounded than it is at a sharp point. But I'll need to kind of push a little bit more of that geometry this way, and then we'll kind of flatten the edges up a little bit so that it's more of a, we'll grab the H polish brush. When in doubt, reduce that brush size and try to flatten some of these faces here. Or actually, no, what we could do, we could probably just pinch the top of the crystal so that the texture flattens nicely. Great, let's grab the pinch brush here and then just pinch along the edges and pinch along the edges again here, pinch along the edges there, pinch along the back. Might make the brush a little bit tinier here to get a nice hard edge here for the crystallization. Okay. I think we've lost a lot of the crystal form. Substance Painter not free membership. Yeah, we will be using Substance Painter to texture this. I don't like this crystal. I don't like this crystal. Oh, because the top is too tall. What happened? I made a mistake somewhere. Let me go, maybe instead of moving the top down, let me see if I can move the edges up. Ugh. Ooh, I don't like that. I don't like this at all. Let me smooth that all out. All right, when in doubt, just repolish. Or smooth. I'll just smooth it all out and then try to flatten the top of the crystal to create a, hopefully a harder edge here this time around. It is now a stick of butter. Just going in, polishing it up, adding a little bit more, sharpness, hopefully, to the. Yeah, I'm not liking this crystal, not at all. All right, let me try to just pinch the edges of it together. Maybe that will make me feel better about the crystal shape. Crystal sharpness. Yeah, it just looks. I don't know what this doesn't look right. I don't know. I think I made a boo boo. Made a boo boo on the model. So let's try to get the crystal back up to more of a crystal-y form. Okay, crystal smooth time. All right, now it's time to crystal flatten. Go to our H polish brush and try to create some flat edges. This is a little bit harder than I thought. I haven't had this much trouble to sculpt a nice crystal, but I think changing the height kind of threw me off a little bit, unfortunately. But that's why we do the live streams, because it makes the result better when you get more ideas and more eyeballs and more brains looking at the thing than yourself. I'm now trying to taper the crystal in to give it more of a, I don't know, more of a cartoony kind of proportions. this brush is kind of, it's so circular. I wish it had a, do they have a square fall off instead of doing this? Yeah. Okay. What are your thoughts? Should we do the wings, Pug? Or actually, what do you guys think? Should we draw the wings of this creature? Does it even have wings? Because we can still change our mind. What are your thoughts? Does this character need to have wings or not? And know that your question and your answer will change the length of time that this will take to make. But I'm open to feedback. So what do you guys think? Should we do, should this creature have wings or not? Oh wow, thank you, Starving Artist 007. That means a lot. And yeah, we're live streaming here on YouTube right now. This whole process, and hopefully it's useful information. Okay, so I'm just going here with the pinch brush, and we're just pinching our different edges of the crystal face together in hopes that we get a nice crystal form at the top. It's getting there. I wish we could just straighten out the lines a little bit better. I mean, to be honest, this crystal might be a better thing to sculpt in a different tool, because it's just, you know, very much these hard surfaces. You know, I usually do my hard surface modeling in Cinema 4D. Like when I'm making a robot design, I almost do it exclusively in Cinema 4D for the modeling portion of it. And then once it's modeled, then we could bring that model into another program like Substance and bring it to life and whatnot, texturing it. Okay. All right, so I made the crystal a little bit taller. I don't know how I feel about the crystal though. Yeah, I'm indifferent to it right now. Okay. Oh wow. Starving Artist 007 says, you taught me a ton of VFX. Please also do tutorials on Blender. I came across you from Ren on Corridor Digital. Oh yeah, it was so cool. That was like a dream come true for me, going on Corridor Digital and talking about augmented reality. That was really exciting, and I'm happy to learn that that's how you discovered my content. I probably am not going to be doing much Blender tutorials because it's just like every time I start to learn Blender, Cinema 4D makes new features that I love, and then I go back right to the drug of Cinema 4D, and I go right back to where I was, and I keep using the tool. I've tried to start learning Blender maybe about a dozen times, and each time it's like just the timing was not right for me on it, you know? I started learning 3D seriously in 2015, and at that time Blender was, in my opinion, was not great yet. It wasn't as awesome as it is today. So when you follow these tutorials here, it might be best if you take the principles of them and then apply it, but you'll have to apply like the formalities of of Blender yourself, because I don't know Blender very much because I just don't use it. The timing was bad. If I was starting over today, I would actually start off with Blender, because I think it's actually more future-proof, because it's caught up. You can do extremely high-quality work in Blender, and if you don't believe me, you can verify all of that on Instagram. See the art, see the work that people are producing with Blender. It's cutting edge and it's free, so like it just makes sense. But I'm not going to be learning it though, unless I absolutely need to. I just love Cinema 4D so much. It's really hard to leave it, especially when I can do everything that I need. Like everything that I need to do, I do it in there, and I have other programs for the stuff that I can't do in Cinema 4D, or the stuff that Cinema 4D doesn't do well. I'm down to add a new tool to my tool set when I don't have a good alternative. So like you can actually texture in Cinema 4D, but I'll be honest, I don't like painting in Cinema 4D. It's not a pleasant experience to me. That's why I do most of my painting in Substance Painter. So in that case, like, I'm super down to learn another program, because it's like, oh, I want a better option for texturing. So then, okay, then I'll leave it. I'll leave something that doesn't have it. But for Blender, I would be using it pretty much the exact same way that I use Cinema 4D. So it's not like, it's not adding to my tool set. In fact, it's kind of like subtracting a little bit, which hurts to say, because I like what they're doing, and I like that they're free, and I like how they're making 3D accessible on a very large scale. All that stuff is super attractive. Okay, so we got this mean-looking crab creature with a crystal out of its back. Don't know what the heck we're making here. I don't even know what this is called. Don, did you forget to eat your dinner or no? Oh, wonderful question, Pug. I actually did eat dinner this time. I can prove it. Here is the garbage that I have not thrown away yet of it. Okay. I like this creature. I want to maybe extend those back legs. I think I forgot to extend them. They're just the top half of the legs. Luckily, that's an easy thing to add. We can just go to the back of the legs here and grab our snake hook tool, increase that brush size, and just pull on the legs. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll just kind of pull the legs out there. Sweet. I would not want to meet this creature in real life. Just kidding. I probably would interact with it. But it just seems like the kind of thing that could just bite off your ankle. Alright, let's make the let's work on the claws again, make them a little bit more menacing. How we can do that is just adding some more sharpness to the inside, so that it looks like it has the, more of a capability of gripping onto things. So just going in here and adding just a little bit of texture. We'll probably sell the texture more through our painting process, but just for now, it's nice to add a little bit of grunginess, a little bit of texture into the areas that need it. I'm also just making little markers for myself that will help me know where to rig this character later. So don't mind all those. Oh, wow. If you hold shift and draw, wait, I don't know what I did. It made a straight line for a second. I did not know you could do that inside of this program. It made a totally straight line. Let me see if I can get it to happen again. Nope, it's not doing it. Okay, it's a one-time deal. I'll find it later, but it looks like you can draw perfectly straight lines if you want by holding some modifier button. Okay, look at that. We got this weird crab creature. Yay! I'm gonna make the back. Oops. I'm gonna make the back legs a little bit more menacing. How to do that? Just adding sharpness. Disney has trained us from all the shows and movies that we've watched over the years to not trust things that are sharp. If you look at any villains in any children's film produced by Disney over the last dozen or so years, you'll see that a lot of villains just have sharp, pointy bits in how they're designed. So it's a really nice, easy way of making a character less trustworthy, even if they are. Just because you're spiky doesn't mean you're not a trustworthy character. But according to Disney, it does. Okay, so we're just going to grab our slash brush here and just slash some details into the cracks and crevices. Great. Just get some more detail in there. Cool. And then grab our pinch. And then just pinch those together. All right. Crab creature. All right, what areas could use some improvement? Let me know, please. This is the time. We're still sculpting. We haven't even started texturing. Kind of inspired by the shells from Super Mario. I'm just going to make it have like a little bit more of a flap around the edges. And I might flatten some of this other texture out a little bit. Matthew says, hey Don, oh no, it's the same one from before, my apologies. Oops. I'm going to try to use the H polish again and just kind of flatten out some of these faces here. Going through flattening stuff. Okay. What do you think? Yay, nay? It's going to be really fun to design this turtle shell material. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but it's going to be something, has to be something cool. That's for sure. Okay, cool. Well, I guess I'll move into the next phase. If this is feeling good, we can move into the next phase, which is going to be prepping this model very quickly in Cinema 4D so that we can start painting it. And yeah, bringing this whole thing to life. Yeah, this is like a, I don't know. Whole nother type of creature here. Okay. And it's got at least one crystal. I mean, we could do wings still, but what do you guys think? Is the wings a no-go? Whoa. Those don't look like wings. Or should we do anything else to the face? What do you think? Whoa. Smile. Yee. Fun. Just gotta have fun. Alright, and you could all be all grr. Angry. Angry eyes. Happy, scared eyes. Smile. Frown. Woo. Okay, well, no more feedback, then we will just jump into the next phase. Cool, we're going to export this model out. I'm going to call this, there we go, great name there. It's the longest name, second to longest name. Okay, great letting it save out that geometry. Let's see how we doing on time. How long has this been? Let's check the stream data. Oh, it doesn't say the time? Okay, I don't know. All right, well, I think that's good there. I'm going to minimize this, and then we'll jump into the next thing here, which will be Cinema 4D. So while it's loading up, one thing that's really cool about Cinema 4D is they just added a Remesher tool to it, and they just built it in. So you can use it to remesh your model in a really friendly way so that it's easier to create UVs and start texturing and painting your creatures. So I'm going to go ahead and merge our geometry. We put it here in Crab Monster, and there it is. Great, so here's the high polygon model. I'm just going to leave all the settings alone and hit OK, see what it does. Cool. All right, so now we're in Cinema 4D, and we got our Crab Monster character. Make sure I can see the comments here on YouTube. All right, so we got this crab monster looking thing with a crystal in its back. And first thing I want to do is just take a look at the polygon count. So let me just reduce the size of this. We don't need this up for right now. Just going to leave that up in the corner here. Okay. So if we grab our model and then display our lines, you can see all of the polygons that we have. It's a lot. And they're actually not that bad. It's just they would be a real pain to unwrap smoothly and be able to get nice textures out of this. So what we do now is we need to reduce the polygon. We need to make two versions of this. So this is considered our high polygon model. So I call this high. H-I-G-H. There we go. And so the high polygon model is the one that we're going to project in the end. But we're not going to paint this one directly. We're going to be painting it inversely. So I like to just make the high polygon red, just so I know that I'm not going to paint that one for real. We're going to just use that geometry as a texture later on. So I'm going to copy that out, and we've got two of these now. And I'm going to hide our first high. And then for the second one, I'm going to just set this to a green color or whatever, and just turn that on there. And we're going to use this one to reduce the polygon count to something more manageable. So with the model selected, we're going to go to our generators up here in green, and I'm going to apply, they just added it in like 2 versions ago, it's called the Polygon Reduction Generator. And if we make our object a child of that polygon reduction, it runs this algorithm that tries to reduce the polygons to something much smaller. By default, it's going to try to reduce the polygon count by 90%. Pugmat Convento 15 says, I think Instagram's your best bet because your audience goes here. I think you're right, Pug. It's just, yeah, you're right. You know it best. I just had some people that wanted me to upload some stuff to YouTube, but it was a little cumbersome, as you can see. So, yeah, I might just keep the way we've been doing things. All right, so believe it or not, this is the 90% polygon reduction model now. And it actually looks pretty similar to the other model, which is really cool because this is 90% less data, even though it's quite similar. So with that set, I right click on it and I say convert to object, or current state to object. And then we will delete the other stuff. Where is it? There we go. So now we're just left with our low polygon model and our high model. So I'm going to rename this to low for low polygon count. But that's not good enough for me, no, because these still are triangles. And these triangles are kind of unorganized. They're just like random. So if you try to grab like a loop of the triangles, for example, it would be a struggle. Yeah, like I can't grab loops. So in that case, what we need to do is remesh it so that it's made out of like squares. So just to show you real quick, they did make a nice model for you inside of Cinema 4D, a new tool. It lives right underneath here. It's called the Remesh Tool. So you can click on Remesh and then drag your object as a child of the remesher. And then what it's doing is it's going to calculate for a couple seconds. So it's still calculating, I think. I think it's calculating. And what we should see in a second is that it's remeshed and it's made out of mostly quads. Isn't that cool? Look at that. So it's mostly made out of quads or squares, or yeah. And that's a much friendlier object to surface because it's just like, yeah, like we can make loops now. We can make full-on loops around the model without having to worry about stuff. And one thing I haven't tried yet, but they actually added a cool tool in the Remesh tool called flow splines. Flow splines. And so if you create some splines on your model and put these splines generically or roughly around where you want the edge flow to be. Sorry, my cursor's turning off there. So if you add some splines to your model like this and then add them to the remesher, it will try to use the guides of your splines as a suggestion for where it can remesh. Okay, so I don't know, that was kind of a lot of technical words, but essentially what I'm saying is that I'm having some troubles here. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I should do that one at a different time. But anywho, we now have a model with quads or squares, and we now have a model with our high resolution model. And so now we're in a pretty good spot to start painting. Oh no, sorry, just kidding. We have one more step we need to do. That is to UV unwrap this model. Oh, Jitesh says, guys, like the stream to get more people to know about the stream. Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I mean, I'm getting mixed feedback. Some folks want me to stream stuff on YouTube. Some want me to stay on Instagram. I'm just experimenting right now and just taking in all the feedback as we brainstorm what is the ideal option here. I don't know what's going on with my my keyboard right now. It's like keeps disconnecting, and I just got this keyboard because my old keyboard kept disconnecting. Okay, now it works again. All right. Anywho, so we're going to take this model, right-click on it, and convert this to an object. And then we'll delete the other unneeded data. So that we're just left with that remeshed model, and I'll get rid of this red model. Cool. So now we have our low-res model, and it's got, it's low resolution, but it's got all, a nice amount of polygons. Let's see if we count the polygons, if we select all of them. Oh wow, it's still a lot. This is 80,000 polygons. That's actually, I mean, no, we can paint that. That should be fine, but that's a lot of polygons, that's all I'm saying. So what we're going to do now is we're going to UV unwrap this model so that we can paint it in another program like Substance Painter. But before we do that, let's go ahead and save our project here in Cinema 4D. We'll call this our crab monster. Crab monster. Save. Cool. So let's UV unwrap this model. For the time being, I'm just gonna close Pureref so I can just focus on Cinema 4D. What we do to unwrap is we switch our context to the BP UV edit mode. And then once we're in here, we have to start unwrapping our model. So I like to start off by just setting a UV from the projection. So it just tries to do a straight projection. And then I go to my edge mode, and I go in here with the loop selector, and I try to find nice loops around the model. So there's one that's right around here. We might be able to use this one as a nice edge loop for the crystal. Just trying to look for a good loop somewhere there. Yeah, that's a pretty good loop. We can work with that. Great, so that'll be one for the crystal. Let's create some more loops. So loops are really important for us because the more loops you have, the less distortion you're going to have in your textures when you go to paint it. So I try to hide my seams, these loops that I'm putting. I try to hide the seams in like sneaky spots that are easy to not see. But sometimes it's just, there's no easy way around it. You have to put a seam in a bad spot. Like that. That's a really bad spot. Let me undo that. I always try to think of different metaphors for seams, and so far the one that I think makes it the most clear to folks is the seams are like clothing. And the reason why your clothing has a seam in it is so that it can fold nicely. And if textures were projected onto it, they would be happier with a seam on it. Okay, so for whatever reason, I don't know. I don't like the edge flow that's happening right now, because we're not getting clean loops. We're getting these kind of rough loops. But I'll just show you. If we do UV unwrap, you'll see what it does. It will try its best to take all of those polygons, all 80,000 of them, and it's going to unwrap them and try to project it onto a flat canvas. Oh, it's still unwrapping. Let me not freak out the program. Let it keep working. Yeah, this is maybe too many polygons for the UV editor to be fast in, but essentially it's going to unwrap this model so that we can start painting it. We want to unwrap things because it's easier. It's easier to paint stuff that's unwrapped. Okay, that was a weird example, but it's still unwrapping the model here, and it's just going to take some time to unwrap the crystal part of the crab monster creature that we just made. So let me let it do its thing. Or let me be impatient and force quit it, because I don't want to do that step anymore and it's locked. So let me force quit it. How do I force quit? Close window? How do I force quit? Alright, let's do Control Alt Delete. And we'll just do a manual force quit here. Okay, sorry about that. We had to close that out because I think I froze it, giving it too many requests. Luckily, we saved it right before we opened up the UV editor, so we're not going to lose anything. I hope. I really hope I didn't forget to save. Let's see. Revert to saved projects. Oh no, unable to find old version. No way, did we just lose all that? Give me a second. We shouldn't have. There it is, Crab Monster. That's weird. It wouldn't let me revert to it in the menu, but it's totally there. Okay, well, I won't complain. I'm happy. So I'm going to take this model, and I'm just going to use my old Remesher tool. So I go up to extensions. It's called the Quad Remesher. And you can set the number of polygons you want your model to have. I'm going to do 15,000 polygons. And we'll make them 80% adaptive. We'll keep hard edges if possible. And let's go ahead and hit Remesh. This one's a much faster algorithm for whatever reason. That's why I like to use it. This is not a free plugin though. This is a $100 plugin for Cinema 4D. It also works for Maya, and I think it also works for Blender too. But it's not free because it's so good. Look at that. It just makes a really nice remesh of your entire model, and all of it is super duper smooth now. So that one wins in my opinion. So I'm gonna, yeah, that's my retopologized model, and it's so much friendlier for me to whoa, there's some weird polygons in the cracks there, but this is mostly okay. I don't think this will be a problem. Okay, so now that we have it remeshed, let me hide my lines to see if it's still looking okay. Yeah, this looks fine. Cool. We're going to go to our UV editor mode. And in the UV edit mode, we're going to take this model and unwrap it so that we can paint this in like really cool colors and stuff. So in order to unwrap it, we need to define some edges and some seams. So I'm going to grab my model and first set a UV projection just from looking at it. Next, we go into our edge mode, and I turn on my loop selector with the shortcut UL, and I look for nice spots where there's nice loops in the model. Like that. That's a good loop. That pretty much goes around the whole shell. Oh yeah, that's a good seam. So great. We got a nice orange seam right there. We'll add another seam around most of that crystal face if possible. Let's see if that's a good one. Yeah, that's pretty close. Great. And then we're going to add another loop around the arms. We're just going to, basically you want to add seams and these loops to the parts of your model that need to be painted separately, and you don't want the textures on them to get too distorted. So yeah, that's the how and why use, you know, loops and whatnot. So I like to, generally speaking, I try to cut out each area, each main area. I try to give it its own cut like this. But know that if you don't do good seams, you're going to have to pay the price later. So it is worthwhile. It is worthwhile to try to do better seams than what I'm doing here, to take your time with them. Because if you're doing what I'm doing right now, which is kind of rushing it around, you're going to get seams, but they might not work as nicely as you hope. But I'm okay with that, because I'm probably going to just use Tri-Planar Projections, which try to ignore seams a little bit. We'll see. It might be a problem, it might not. I don't know yet for sure. Cool. Next, I also add this tool. This lets you define your own seams instead of using the loop cut. It lets you just go ahead and I'm going to go to the top of the model here and just draw a line myself. So you can make this your own manual seams as well. And the more seams you add, the less distortion you should have on your model. On your model's textures. Otherwise, if you don't have a lot of seams, what happens is your model has to stretch to compensate for the lack of seams. So if it's within your means, you should add your seams. I didn't mean to rhyme there, but that actually might be a good 3D modeling lesson. 3D modeling nursery rhymes. Alright, I'm just going to draw this line here and connect that there. Cool. But yeah, I try my best to put seams in spots that will allow for the least distortion. I only know them from doing this many times. The first thing I tried to ever unwrap was a shark. It was so complicated. And ever since then, I now, it makes more sense. But it's something where you do have to just dive in. And there's not a right time to start learning it. It's just you got to just dive in when you get the chance. Don, will you rig this model? I was thinking about it. I'm strongly thinking about rigging it because it's a hyper custom model, and I usually just do my fast, bipedal humans and do an auto rig with Mixamo, but I might want some movement on this character that's not going to work from an automatic rigger, so I might need to manually rig this. But I haven't quite put myself in the mindset to rig this not quadruped, I don't know what this, the six-legged creature. I mean, essentially it's 6 legs, right? So, I mean, legs are only 3 joints. So that 3 joints on the body should be fine. Actually, it might not be as bad to rig this 6-legged creature as I'm initially thinking right now. It would be worse if this was like a hand. Hands are hard. They always are. Okay, so all these lines I just drew here, these are called seams. They're in orange here. And if you did your seams in a good spot, you can go to the algorithm here and choose UV Unwrap. And this will try to unwrap your model wherever your seams were. And that, my friends, is a really good UV Unwrap. Look at that. You get all these nice clean islands. And essentially, if you don't have Substance Painter, which is what we're going to be using to paint this next, if you don't have a Substance Painter, you can paint these in Photoshop. You can paint these in Procreate. You can paint these in Microsoft Paint. You can just bring in this image. It's a 2-dimensional image, and whatever you paint on here is going to transfer to the surface of your 3D object. But I am seeing a couple areas that need improvement, like whatever this is, this area. Let me double check. What is this spot? Oh, wow. So we need to unwrap a lot of stuff on the inside there. Yeah, because that part did not unwrap quite nicely, unfortunately, but no worries. We will fix that. So with that area selected, so basically all the underbelly parts, we should put a better seam down the middle of that belly. So I'm going to grab my seam tool and just go from the top here. I know this is like a bad practice to put a seam down the middle of a face. I always try to avoid it, but this area is so dense, I don't know how to... Uh-oh, is it freezing? Oh, crap. Don, put your YouTube live chats from top chats to live chats so you see it least delayed. What does that mean? Top chats versus live chat? Oh, I didn't even know there was a setting up there. Sorry about that. Oh crap. I think Cinema 4D just crashed. No. We'll have to unwrap it again. And retopologize it again. No. Okay. Darn. Ugh. Yeah. We have to, yeah, we have to close it. Darn it. Control. I mean, it didn't take us too long to unwrap that model, so let's just do it again. Oof. It's not fun throwing away your work. Because I just want to get into the fun part. I mean, all of this is fun. But what's not fun is losing your work over and over and over again. And having to repeat the same thing. That's not really fun for anybody. But keep doing this to myself. Alright, let's see if we can find that model again. Ah, man, we have it from before. Drats. Okay, whatever. We just gotta do it again. All the steps. Whew. So, we'll just remind me to save it after we, just more. Let's just remind me to save it more, please. Okay, so what we're gonna do is retopologize this model using my Remesh tool. So I grab my model, I go to my extensions, quad remesher, and I'm going to remesh this to 15,000 polygons and hit remesh. Let it do its calculations. Getting a little sleepy. Oh, but it's always so exciting to see it working, so I can't help it. And then I'm going to save my project right now so I don't have to remesh it again. Good, so we got this here. Next, we're going to switch to our UV editor. It's like we just practiced what we were going to do officially now. So it's okay to lose your work sometimes. Cool. So we're in the Remesher Tool, and we're going to select all of our model and choose Set UVs from Projections. So it just gives us a nice projection to start with. We're going to go to our Edge Selection mode and switch to our Loop Selection tool. And we're going to find those nice loops in the model again. That will allow us to cut the geometry nicely. So that's a good loop right there. Let's see if there's any nice loops in the cracks and crevices. I don't see any quite yet. Let's try maybe down the side of the arm here. That's looking like it's an okay one. Let's see, is that one here? What's this? Nope. All right, let's try unwrapping that crystal. Yep, that's a pretty good seam. Good, good, good. Let's do this to the arm. And let's go to each one of these leg segments. Create little unwrap patterns for these. Great. Just trying to create some seams for our model. Just focus, and yeah, just got to stay focused. Cool. It's working so far. Let's create a loop down the center cavity of the body. Okay. Great, and then let's just mark a seam down the back of the crystal. Alright, so this time I'm going to save before we do any other steps and it crashes again, so it's saved. And then let's run the Unwrap algorithm. So let's do the UV Unwrap button here. There we go. So we got some more stuff unwrapped now. Great. And then let's just check the health of some of these islands in here. I forgot how to select them. Is this it? One of these tools lets you select the actual shell. I don't know which one it is though. Alright, so let's see, is there any areas that need more unwrapping like this? This area looks like it needs more unwrapping to me. don't know why it's not letting me pick the polygons here. Should be an option to grab the, there we go. Oh, that's weird. So that's just this part of the hand. Okay. So that's what I do next is once I have it unwrapped, I just double click on each of the islands and make sure that I'm happy with the way that they're separated. Ooh, I don't like this one. That one needs more cuts. Yeah, that one needs a lot more cuts. So what I'll do is I'll go to the back of that geometry here, and we're going to mark a new seam down the back side of that piece. There we go. And then let's do the Unwrap algorithm again and see what it looks like. Ooh, I don't like that either. Let's undo that. Bad seam. Bad place for the seam. Okay. When in doubt, I don't know. I'm just going to mark a seam randomly and then unwrap it, see if it looks better. Okay, that is a little bit better. Cool. And then what is this region down here? Oh, that's the shell. Oh yeah, it's all the shell. I guess we could unwrap this more. Yeah, so let's go down the back side of the shell where people are less likely to see the errors and try to draw a seam down this back side of the turtle shell. There it is. And then let's run the Unwrap algorithm again to see if we get a better layout. Cool. Getting this weird layout over here. For some reason, this geometry wants to jump on top like this. What's going on down here? Ah, I see. We have a really weird shape. So we need to add a seam into there to separate the model a little bit. So I'm going to grab my loop tool and just create a loop, create an edge loop around one of these arms, hopefully, so that we can just separate it from the rest. Otherwise, we're going to keep getting some really bad bending around that geometry. Even that's not the greatest, but let's see if that gets our unwrap better. This is the live chat. LOL, I was testing. Oh. I'm new to this too, so I don't know what's all going on. Seeing some bad edge flow here, so bad modeling on my half. So let me just keep unwrapping it. Essentially what I'm trying to do is make sure that there's enough like cuts in the model where we can unwrap it and nothing is overlapping on itself. If any of your UVs are overlapping like they are on mine, you're going to have really, really big issues later in your modeling. Like that. Like, what is that? That's a mess. Whew. Maybe because I'm getting a little sleepy, I start to make a lot of careless mistakes. Alright, I'm just going to make a seam here and see if that helps it better. Okay, that helped a little bit. For some reason, I don't know what this model, why this model wants to fold like this. Oh, they're separate. So that means I should be able to move these UV islands. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I just want to make sure that all my polygons are not overlapping. And like, you don't want stuff like this where it's super scrunched together. Like, what is that? Oh, okay, so I see. It's just like this weird leg, this weird legged part. So we need to go into this spot and find another spot to put a seam. So you don't want to leave, you really don't want to leave stuff like this in your model. Otherwise, it's just going to be a total nightmare to paint. And you won't have fun. You gotta have fun. Alright, let me unwrap it again. Dang, this part is just so bunched up, and I really dislike this part of the model here. I don't know what to do here other than maybe adding some more seams. and I'll save the file in case it crashes. Let's keep unwrapping it until we get no more overlaps. Oof, look at that. That's some messy, messy, messy polygons here. Oh, good night, Ara. Cool art. Have a wonderful evening. No worries. I should probably go to sleep soon as well. Dawn, sorry about that. Left a bit, getting a bit sleepy and was listening. Oh yeah, I'm with you too. I'm getting sleepy too. We'll probably need to end this live stream soon. Or maybe I'll end it, but I still want to paint it, so I might have to paint it on my own separately, not in the live stream. Because I'm still, I still have some creative energy right now, for some reason. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just trying to draw random seams now, just hoping it unwraps more smoothly. It's getting there. It's getting there. It's just, it's rough when you don't have good seams, because then you can't paint it, you know? So that can be really frustrating. I want to get to the painting process, but I can't paint stuff if you have terrible seams. Okay, this is pretty close. Almost nothing's overlapping. Almost. Yay. Okay, I think it's so close. They're just going to keep, I'm going to keep adding seams until none of these polygons are overlapping in an ugly way. These are some really weird lines. If any true modelers saw me doing this right now, they would say, "What are you doing?" But it's because I know how I'm going to texture this. And I can get away with these major flaws. Just adding seams and being sleepy. Yeah, but there's some areas that I can't get into. Like I can't get into this cracks in here for some reason. It's like really broken in there. Okay, so this is by far the worst UV I've ever made for a character, and I want to explain why it's the worst UV. It's the worst UV because these seams are put in the most unfriendly places for painting. So if I have to do any hard surfaces where I need to have like a specific shape at a certain spot, it's going to be really hard for me to do. So learn from this. Don't do what I'm doing, and get sleep. Get a lot of sleep so that you don't make poor decisions when you do your UV unwrapping. This is now a PSA, a public service announcement to folks that are looking into character modeling and texture painting. You can't do it when you're exhausted. You're going to make bad decisions and have ugly UVs that make it harder for you to paint. That being said, I found a hack for folks like me that are exhausted when we work at times and we do bad UVs. It's you can change your type of projection on Substance Painter to not project based off of your UVs, but rather to project based off of the direction that the normals are facing. It's called Tri-Planar Projection. It's a great hack. Pug is not high with the crystals, you know. He's dancing when I was listening to music. Oh, that's good. Don't get high with the crystals. I'm so sleepy, but I want to keep doing this. All right, well, we're at a spot where I'm going to just see if it's broken in Substance Painter and just we'll see. So what I do lastly is to go to our standard here, and I'm going to grab our remeshed model, which is this one here. I'm going to apply a green material to it. And I'm going to delete the low-res model from earlier. And then we'll save this project file. Cool. So then I'm going to take this saved file, just do, I'm going to copy it, Control-C, and make a new Cinema 4D file and paste it in place. Now we're going to export this out as its own object. So I'm going to export it out. We're going to increase the scale to 10 centimeters and export materials. All is great. We're going to bring this into the crab monster, and we'll call this low. Then we're going to go back to our previous Cinema 4D file with the high resolution crab monster. And we'll delete our low res one, keep just the high res model. And with the high res one, we're going to save this one out, export it as a wavefront object at 10 centimeters. And we're going to call this one the high model. Great. So we've saved those two models. We can close that. Now let's open up Substance Painter and never go to sleep. I'm not going to mess myself in Connect like a weird bug. It's all good. Sleep deprivation makes us really weird. All right. So I'm going to go to New. We'll set this to 2K resolution and choose our model. We'll go to Crab Monster and choose the low crab monster. Next, we hit OK. Great, so it looks like that loaded in and we see our ugly UVs over there. And we have our 3D model over here, so that's good. Next, we go to our texture set settings and go to Bake Mesh Maps. And we can set this to 2K resolution. And then I'm going to give it the high resolution model as a texture input, or as a model input to project as a texture. So it says use low poly mesh as high. No, let's leave all that. Okay, and let's hit bake. Yeah, bake textures. So now we're baking the high resolution model onto that low resolution model. We're giving our ambient occlusion. We're getting all of that extra detail into the model, all very cheaply. And it looks like it's working. So this kind of re-energized me, so I'm gonna just have some fun making some textures now. Let's just start off with a base color. Maybe we can bring back our pure reference. I like this purple vibe that they got going on. Let's see what other animal creatures. Yeah, I really like this purple color, so let's maybe start off with that. We're gonna go with the new fill color. And I'm going to fill the scene with a base color that is close to that pink there. Great. Awesome. And then we're going to add a, no, before we add masks, I'm just going to make my base colors and just put them in the scene. So I'm going to duplicate this layer. And on this one, we're going to take in that purple from the shell of that creature. Awesome. Got that there. And great. Okay. So first thing I'm going to do is use a curvature map to define the pink areas. So I'm going to right click and add a black mask, and then right click on the mask, add a generator, and we'll use a curvature generator to put the pink areas in the curved surfaces. I might need to do an inversion on this though. Let's see. Let me invert it. There we go. So now all the pink areas is like on the inside of the body, which I really want. And so I'm just kind of playing with the brush contrast here, and the global blur is going to expand it or subtract it. There we go. So now we got this nice pink flesh on the inside. Oh, nice. Don't make me remind you, Don. I did this once to Brian's live stream, like heavy word, and also can go very deep. Oh, yeah. Well, it happens. We all have our sleep deprivation as creative people. It happens. But we do have to be in check with it, you know, as much as we can. Okay, so I got this purple in here, and I'm going to add a black mask and then just paint in the purple right onto the shell. And luckily, we have our shell separated as its own UV island, which is going to allow us to just paint the UVs. So I'm going to set this to UVs, and now we could just paint right here, and we're now only painting on the shell, which is really cool. So I'm just painting purple on that shell. Great. And then let's go to the next level of that shell, which is this outline on it. Oh, it looks like it's all of that. So let's go through here, just kind of painting on that shell. I would love to play music, but I think YouTube will ban you if you play music, so I have to hum the music I hear in my head. Okay, so we got purple shell. Great. Let's give him purple claws. Cool. Looks like the UVs are actually behaving pretty nice. They're not... Oh, we should turn on symmetry, because these are symmetrical parts of the body. And we can get away with the symmetry here. But yeah, these aren't, you know, I didn't do good UV mapping. And the result is you're going to see the seams as you're illustrating and painting, and you don't want to see seams all the time, because it makes it look like it's not like a good 3D model. What's cool too is we can use this for augmented reality, we can use this for visual effects. I'll probably make it for both. So I might make a super high resolution model of this that we use as a visual effects asset, and then probably use another pass of it as a augmented reality pass, something that we can you know, have it shared in real time and let people create their own stories with this creature. Oh, hello, Grimaldo from Guatemala. Welcome. I love what you're doing. Oh, wow. Thank you so much. Well, it's a pleasure to have you here. We're currently live streaming onto YouTube. So this full tutorial is on here. This is, if the stream, I don't know how far YouTube lets you stream, but it should have a lot, because we have a lot of steps in here that we did today. We started off from scratch. We started off from just this reference image that I found on Pinterest to a 3D model to something that's inspired by it. Definitely different proportions and whatnot. Mine's definitely creepier than theirs. So maybe that was the wrong call, but hey. All right, let's grab this yellow color from the eye. Add a black mask. And then just paint just the eye that yellow color. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Great. All right, more layers. Let's add another layer of pink. So I'm going to move that layer underneath, and then move one of them on top. Oh no, let's not do that. Let's move that one underneath, and then we'll copy that pink layer. And then we're going to set this one to a darker shade of the purplish color. And then with that darker shade, we're going to pull back on the mask strength. So I'm going to go to that curvature mask and play with that global balance. So we see either more or less of it. Probably less of it, because it's like a subtle shadow. And we'll blur that one out a little bit. So it's just like a nice purple shadow in there. We'll go back to our pink layer and add some more blur to that, so that we can really just fill up all the volumes inside there with the pink. There we go. Good, 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 good. All right. Next, let's throw on some Cobalt. And with the Cobalt on here, I'm going to add a black mask. And then we're going to use a smart mask to reveal it. The reason why I want to use the Cobalt is, I forgot why I wanted to use this. Oh, I remember. There's a texture that's really cool in here. Edge strong. So we can apply that there, and this creates this nice little silvery edge wear and tear. Earlier I was mentioning about the importance of modeling curvature. So that curvature map is how it's defining where it should apply that material. So yeah, it's just a really cool thing. Now we don't have to keep the silver aspect of it. We can keep the reflection of it and just eliminate the color, or you can keep the color, reduce the roughness on it, and we still have full control of that mask. We can go into that mask and apply more of it or less of it if you want to go for a more subtle effect. We can also turn on our global contrast and reduce the strength of the textures or increase it. You just get all sorts of unbelievable amount of flexibility when you use Substance Painter as your texturing tool of choice. Oh yeah, no worries, Pug, if you gotta go to sleep. Don, the first beta this year was like 18 hours. You should be fine. Oh, nice. Even if it's a wrong color I like, it's a pleasure for me too. And yep, it's really cool. Yay. Yeah, it's really nice that like this tool doesn't punish us for you know, making a design decision. You know, like we can go back and change our mind on just about anything, and it just keeps your spot and lets you get back to your work, and it's fun. All right, so I just made a nice new color there just to fill in the inside to give them an orange eye. So I'm just kind of adding some orange around the iris here. Oh, we're getting some weird fall off. Let's reduce that, set this back to tangent wrap. See if we can get, there we go. So now he's got a nice orange eye. We might put this on top of everything. And then we can add another fill layer, set this to black, and maybe change the roughness to be really shiny. Then add a black mask, and we can fill this in here to give him a focal point for his eye, for the iris. There we go. Cute. Great. So we got this nice decorative eye. I'm going to go to that silvery material, and I just want to change that color. The color is not coming across the way I had hoped. So I'm going to just pull in the pink highlights. And then with those pink highlights, we're going to set this map to overlay. Ooh, overlay is a bad call. Let's switch that out. Trying different pass-through methods. This one's called start to finish. Interesting. Okay. Okay, I'll leave that. I like that a little bit. All right, whatever. Cool, cool, cool. Let's keep going. They got this iron diamond, and the reason why I'm using this is it might be a great way to create all of the hard surfaces of the shell. So if I reduce this down to size, we'll get this nice graded material, and it's highly reflective. We can change the rotation of it to make it more aligned with the turtle shell, and we can even play with the roughness. So if you wanted to make it more rough or softer, we can. And what I'm going to do is apply it only to the shell. So we already have a mask that we made for the shell earlier under this purple one. Oh, actually we had multiple parts on it, so maybe we'll just reapply it manually. So I got this here, and then we'll add a black mask, and then we can just paint in manually wherever we want this nice shell material to appear. So I can just go ahead and paint all around our model here. And I'm going to overshoot a little bit, and then we'll just subtract the parts that we don't need. So that's what's really cool about Substance Painter, is you can get all sorts of material, textures, and designs really quickly. And again, it's like you're not punished for experimenting with your materials. You can just keep going. Cool. So we got this mask made, and then we have all the flexibility of that mask. We can actually turn off color. So we could keep our purple color from before, but just have this nice pattern to go on top of our shell. You know, so that's like a really nice little tool. Cool. All right, let's turn off our symmetry and erase some excess paint here. Great. We'll do the same thing to the iron blend. Great. All right, so we got some cool stuff going for us. I'm going to go to the eyeball and make it less rough, so that the light on the eyeball scatters a bit more, or it inflects a little bit more. Cool, cool, cool. Let's save this. And we'll just save it right into Crab Monster. Cool. Good night, Don. All right, no worries. Have a good night, Pug. I'll go to sleep soon, too. Or I'll stay up and watch anime to the wee hours of the night. Or I mean the early hours of the morning. It's oh boy. Okay. There's a texture in here called bone. We can add it. It's a stylized bone. We can apply it to our material. And it's not so much that I like the colors of it. I mean, it's got lots of cool textures. You know, it's just a really cool material. But if you have stylized bone on here and then set the pass-through method to a different channel, you can get a really cool effect. So I'm just playing with the different channels here. Whoa! Oh my god, that looks super dope. I wasn't even thinking of doing like a... Oh my god. What? This is so dope. Dude, this was an accident. I did not mean to make this creature this color combination, but I'm totally going with it. Wow. I'm obsessed with it. All right, let me add my crab detail to the top here. Let's maybe make the iron diamond less reflective. So I'm going to increase that roughness. The light kind of scatters on it. Maybe add a little bit more weathering and a little bit more rust. Cool. And then we can go to our stylized height pattern and change the pattern tiling to make it more graded. Wow, I love this character. Let me save it again in case it crashes. Wow. Absurd. We got so much more texture out of that from just that, yeah, whatever design decision that was. It was an accident, but it was a happy accident. So now we get a way better design. All right, I'm going to make the tiles in here not as... Either we make it really small like this, or maybe I'll make it a lot larger. Something like that ought to be good. Yeah. And then we're going to add a filter to this, and we're going to add a warp. I want to create more stylized looks, so we're going to add a warp to this, and the warp will just give it more variation. Whoa, too much variation. Way too much variation. Okay, bad call. Let's go back to 1000. Directional warp, what's that going to do? I don't see it doing anything. Divided warp. I like this creature. I'm going to give him a yellow belly, though. So we're going to go to that same layer that his eyeball is painted on, and then we're just going to use it to paint his belly yellow. And I'm also going to soften that brush so we get a nicer subtle fall off around the edges. While we're at it, we'll also add some yellow to some of the other interior parts of the crab legs. Let's turn on our symmetry mode, and then add some yellow to the insides of their legs and stuff. Alright, so I'm much happier with this texturing now. It looks like a really cool, creepy monster creature. And it was an accident. I did not mean to get this color palette, but when we set the, when we inverted the bone texture, it turned it all into this red and black thing. And I really, really like it. Alright, now let's make that crystal way shinier and reflective and more like alive. So one way we can do that is I can use a bronze material on the whole thing. So it applies bronze everywhere. We don't want it everywhere, so I'm going to go to right-click on it, add a black mask. And now we can just paint to reveal what needs to be bronze. So I'm just painting this crystal. We can change color and stuff later, but for now we just need to create our mask. Okay, okay, okay. Let's go full screen here. There we go. I'm going to reduce the brush spread intensity and turn off our symmetry, and then just manually paint in some of the edges here. In Substance Painter, you can reduce the brush distance by changing the space of the dots, and it makes the brush extremely high quality. But be careful if you use that setting, because it does eat up a lot more memory, and you can feel your computer chug a little bit more when the spacing is really dense on your brushes. But I'm okay with that, because we want that detail, you know. All right, so I'm kind of doing a rather sharp edge here, and we'll need to break it up. So I might use a warp distortion to separate that material. I mean, to be honest, I'm not totally against this gold here, but I did want to try a different color crystal. So let's experiment with some different color crystals. I mean, it looks like a big chunk of gold is just stuck in his back, which is kind of cool. But let's see what material. So we have different base metals. So let me go to my base metal here and just experiment. What is this? Get off my screen. Let's experiment with some different colors. It's like a red crystal, a blue crystal. The yellow crystal seems appropriate. What about a black crystal? No. What about a red crystal? Let's try that. Let's go red crystal somewhere in here. I mean, the gold looked pretty cool. What do you guys think? Is the gold gonna work for us? If we do that, I might want to put more gold on the character in other places. So, for example, maybe at the tips of his claws, he can have like gold tips. Or maybe the tips of his toes. Or maybe we can just add the tips to the corners and stuff like this. Or maybe it's like a golden claw entirely. Let me see. No, too much, too much. Let's go back, go back, go back, go back, go back. Okay. We can give him gold teeth. Actually, the yellow teeth look pretty cool. Let me get those back there. Alright, I like it. What's this? Bronze corrosive. Let me throw this on our model. No, I don't want to do corrosive. What's this one? We got bronze standard? Interesting. Oh, it's stained. I guess he might have some water damage because he's kind of like an aquatic creature. So let's work with this. I'm going to use a black mask, and then we're going to apply the bronze statue as a projection underneath it. So I'm going to go to the generator. Yeah, we'll add a generator here. And then we'll choose the light generator. Where is it? Actually, do we want to do light or position? Let's try position, POS. Oh, there it is, position. So position's a really cool filter. It uses the, it's a three-dimensional gradient. So if I increase the contrast of it, you'll be able to see it a little bit better. So it's a three-dimensional gradient. So you can have it as a hard gradient like this if you want, or you can soften it, right? So you can soften that transition, or you can even reduce the contrast. So I want to only have the rusting and stuff happening on the lower parts of the body. So what I'm going to do is set this to false, so it inverts it. Then we're going to reduce the global balance, so it's only on like the very bottom faces there. And then we're going to increase the, decrease the contrast and reduce the global balance a little bit more, somewhere around there, and then maybe increase the blur, or maybe decrease the blur. Okay, so we're getting some kind of thing. I don't know how I'm feeling about that though. Kind of liked what I had before. So what I might do just to practice is maybe go to our flow jitters and reduce the strength of the corrosiveness. One of these. Let me go to my normals. Let's try a different blend mode. Oh, that's kind of cool if we have like a more fiery effect on the bottom. I just like having a little bit more wear and tear on the bottom parts of the model since they would be like touching the ground more. Ooh, look at that one. This one's called, which one is this? This is called Tinted. I kind of like the tinted look that it did. It was an accident. Everything's been an accident so far, but I've been really liking these accidents. They are happy accidents. So here's Tinted. Kind of looks like some kind of radiation is underneath the character. I'm open to work with that. So let me go back to that position slider and maybe decrease that balance. Wow, so you can make it go all the way up or all the way down. See, that's pretty cool. Wow. Let me turn up the contrast real quick just so I can see it more clearly. Whoa. Whoa. Ah, I like them all. I can't make up my mind. I guess I'll just put it right at the very bottom tips of the creature. So now we just got some, yeah, just got some secondary texture. Cool, now let's create some sun damage. We're gonna make a new texture for sun damage. They have this, they have a lot of good stuff. So if you type in dust in here, they have a ton of really nice dust materials. So this is like dust concrete. This is dust, dirty dust. So I'm gonna throw on dust concrete, and it kind of just adds like a bunch of spray almost onto the model. And it's always a little excessive. So what I wanna do to the dust is reduce where the dust can grow, or at least where the dust can land. So I add a black mask on top of the dust channel. Go to our dust layer here and turn on a generator. So it can add a generator, and we'll use one called light. What light does is it lets you isolate. Oops, it's not appearing light. There it is. It lets you, it's similar to position, except it looks at the direction of a light and only projects the texture in those areas, which I love. So I'm just going to increase the, the contrastness of this. And you can see as I'm rotating the sliders here, it's changing the direction that it's allowed to put that material on. And you can like grow the height, intensity, and whatnot, and the attenuation is how much it blends in with the existing material. So just doing something like that looks pretty cool to me. I like that. All right, this is coming along. Let's save our work. Don't want it to crash here. Bronze doesn't seem like crystally. Oh, for the big crystal in the back here? I know it doesn't, huh? So, I mean, I actually do have crystal textures that I've found online that I could use here. So let me maybe try that. So let me throw on crystal, like real crystal, and then reduce the scale of my crystal here. And then let's see if we add a black mask to it. No, where is it? Black mask. And then where is our other crystal? Somewhere in here. Should be the crystal. Oh, that one. So we could take this crystal, and I'm just going to copy that mask and then paste that as the crystal mask. Where is it? Paste into mask. There we go. And then now we have a separate crystal up here, so we can change this to a more crystal-y color. I don't know what kind of crystal this character would carry on him. Oh, maybe it's a lava crystal, because this character's got a lot of like lava-like colors and stuff, which would mean that the corrosiveness would not need to be blue. I know we have corrosive material on the bottom of the character here, but it might be better if we switch this one. Let me copy this mask again, and let me hide that for a second. We actually have a lava texture that I use sometimes. So I can throw on stylized lava on the whole character for a second, and then it's going to be excessive, so we need to reduce the scale of it. And then we can right click on it, add a black mask, and then paste our lava there. So now he's got lava on his feet. That looks pretty cool. So now he's a lava crab powered by a lava crystal. I can back that. Yeah. Let me play with the crystal color though. So we got lava contrast for the hands and feet here. Oh yeah, he's definitely he's a lava turtle. A crystal lava turtle. Let me save this. Okay, let's see. If we wanted to make the crystal just a lava as well, let me see if that's feasible. So let me throw my lava back on here, and then copy my crystal cutout here. So where's my crystal cutout? There's my crystal. So I'm going to copy this one, copy that mask, and then paste this into our lava field as a mask equivalent. So now he's got a lava crystal there. But I don't want it to just be all lava like this, so we're going to dial it in. We're going to play with the obsidian roughness. So now it's a little bit like wetter and looks a little bit fresher. We can also play with the lava level. So if we want the lava to be taller, you can do that too. So now it's like, you know, really corrosive. A little transparency on crystal, and corrosiveness can be gray like ash. Oh, ash would be dope. Let me just add a layer of ash onto his body. I love that idea. Good call. Yeah, I'll add some ash on the top of him. So where is the ash? I forgot where you can get it from. I think the easiest way to do that is I'll just make a gray material. So I'm just going to fill the whole character with a dark gray. And then we're going to add a black mask on there. And then there's actually a smart mask called Dust, which is amazing at this. So if you do Dust Soft, check this out. It literally applies a soft coating of dust onto the model. But you can, you know, use that dust mask to basically control it like we can say it's like ash, you know. Yeah, so, and then we can still play with the color of that ash. Actually, I don't know if I like that. I'm going to take it back. Wait, what was your idea? You said, Jitesh says, a little transparency. Oh yeah, we can do some transparency. How do we do that? So here's our crystal here. If we want to add transparency, we need to go to our main channel and turn on opacity. Great, so now opacity is turned on. And then if we can find our opacity attributes somewhere in here, that's trim intensity, that's lava heat. Where's opacity? Opacity, opacity, opacity. Weird, it doesn't seem to have, the lava texture doesn't come with an opacity channel, so we might have to make it ourselves. Yeah, I don't see opacity in here anywhere. Oh, the opacity is based off the diffuse. Okay, so it does have it. I think it might be semi-transparent now. Yeah, it is. Look at that. Woo! And that might be a texture that we can add some refraction to and create like maybe some subsurface scattering. It could be really cool. Now imagine if you had this much lava coming out of your back, you would have a lot more glowing happening on the shell surface. So let's make the shell glow around the cracks. So to do this, we're going to go into our materials all and look for lava again. I'm going to throw on the stylized lava onto the whole model. Great, simple. Then we're going to add a black mask. And then this time we're going to add a curvature generator on top of there so that the lava falls into the cracks. So I'm going to go look for curvature. Oops, there's curvature. And then we're going to reduce the global balance. There we go. So I just want to create some, just a little bit more lava in the cracks so that we just get this idea that the character is just full of lava energy. There we go. So just adding a little bit of lava trim just to add some nice little highlights onto our crab creature thing. Oh, the corrosiveness on the tip of the legs. Oh, you said the corrosiveness can be gray like ash. Oh, I see what you mean. So instead of his feet being like lava, is that what you mean? Because I'm trying to imagine, like, if this thing was walking on lava, wouldn't the bottoms of its feet not be ashy, but rather they would be like really like heated? Like they'd like the amount of heat from walking on something like lava would be. I'm in my mind, I'm imagining it would need to glow. But I'm open to challenging that as well. All right, I'm gonna add a new fill layer. And this one we're going to turn off everything except for color and emissiveness. We're going to set this to a bright color to represent the heat. And then we're going to set our emissive track to a red. So you get this nice yellow-red, like very hot material. And then I'm going to add a black mask. And what I'm going to do is just lightly draw, manually draw around the opening of this creature. Okay, something like that. Then actually we're going to go back to it and turn on height field, so we can actually add height to that, you know, geometry or whatever, that texture. So now it's got like a warmth to it. Now, if we were to turn off the lights on the model, it will still like be glowing. Let me copy that material actually. Copy and paste it. So we have a copy of it here. This one I'm going to turn off the height field, and on this copy we're going to blur the mask a lot, and I might turn off color. So it's just the emissive. And then we'll go to here and we'll go to right click on it, add a filter, and then we're going to add a blur. B-L-U-R. Blur. And then we can just blur this filter out. I don't see it. It doesn't appear to be growing. What's going on? Let me see. Let me turn off the layer beneath it. Go back to my blur, turn up the blur strength. Weird. I do not see the blur actually blurring out my mask. Oh, weird. The blur is not on the mask. It got, for whatever reason, let me remove that. I want to apply it to the mask. So I'm going to click on the mask and then add a filter and then add the blur filter there. There we go. So now we can blur out that filter. So that's going to help the light to glow. And it creates this illusion of subsurface scattering. Because if there was a crystal, a lava crystal coming out of your turtle shell, then it's going to heat the entire turtle shell deeply into the material. So that's why I want to get that subsurface scattering. And then if we just increase that heat at the top, then we get a nice solid glow. I'm also going to maybe reduce the... Oh no, I'll keep that. What do you guys think about the tiling texture here I have on the shell? Is that a yay? Is that a nay? What are we feeling about it? Because if we take our crystal texture here, we can maybe crank it up or reduce the bumpiness of the crystal shell. Basically, lava is not hot enough to melt rock, so his leg tips can be rocky, like unaffected by lava. Oh, gotcha. Okay, that makes sense to me. Yeah, let me remove that then. Where is it? Oh, whoa, his face got split. What's going on there? Oh, my blur mask. It doesn't like my blur. Let me reduce the blur intensity. That's the problem with the seams. Ah, darn, I really wanted that too. Let's see, maybe I'll do that and then I'll group that whole thing together. Yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll just group this real quick. Group layers, and then on the group, we'll add another black mask, and then we'll only reveal this in the top. There we go. So that way you get rid of the... Well, actually looks like the face is still splitting there. Why is the face splitting? Ah, it's this one. Alright, so then we should probably group that one as well. So let's group that one. Where is it? Group, layers. And then instead we'll add a white mask. And I'll just paint that off of the face here. I don't want that split there. Okay, cool. Alright, back onto this one. And now we can get the subsurface scattering. I hope. Can we get it? Nope. Why can't I get the scatter? I made a mistake somewhere, didn't I? For whatever reason, I can't see this material appear here. Let me remove my mask. Oh, it's back. Okay. And then the face split happens, so then we need to add a black mask and then only paint at the top here. There we go. So now we can get that nice subsurface scattering, so that as the lava rock comes out of the turtle shell, it actually scatters the light inside of the shell because it's super hot. And then your idea, you said the feet should not be molten like that. Instead, you want them to be unaffected like rocks. So I like that idea, and that's a very good point. So let me find out where I put the texture of the lava feet, and let's just get rid of that. And in its place, we have a different texture here that we can use. Where is it? It's this bronze one. So I actually got this rocky cliff material. So if I type in cliff, I have stylized cliff and I have desert cliff. Let me apply the desert cliff onto the body real quick. It's going to be a pretty heavy calculation. And then we're going to turn off the color channel on the desert cliff. Whoa, actually that looks pretty cool. It looks like he's just made out of rock. He's a rock crab lava crystal man. But I kind of lost some of the other textures that I liked, so I'm going to move this a little bit lower in the tree. And then I want to maybe add a black mask as well, and only paint it in the areas that I want it. So I'm going to paint it on around the. I'm going to paint the hands to be a little bit tougher, because if they're on lava all day, these things might be kind of beat up. And then I also really liked that texture on the top of the shell, maybe instead of my big tiles. So I'm going to add a rocky texture onto the top of the shell. Or maybe we could just do it, we can find a happy medium somewhere. Maybe do the rockiness up at the top here. It's like it's bending the light so much. I love this character. I don't know who he is or what it's about, but I'm a fan of it. Oh my god, I've been blocking the comments. Sorry about that. Black Jesus says, no, not gold, please. Oh, that was a while ago. Maybe red looks much better. Okay, let it be gold. Yeah, lava definitely theme looks cool. Okay, cool. All caught up. Sorry, I couldn't see your comments. Still getting used to streaming on YouTube. Okay, we got a lava monster crystal thing. I like it. Let me just do some more stuff with the eyeball here. I'm going to maybe make that red ring around the eye glow. So it's very easy to do that in Substance Painter. So first got to find out where is that eyeball glowing from. All right, it's right here. We're going to take this channel and go to our emissive track and just turn on our emissive, just to increase it a little bit. So that's no emissive, and then anything that's up there is going to be a little bit brighter. And then we'll set this to an orange color, or a slightly red orange. I guess we'll keep it red. And now just by doing that, we're going to get a nice highlight that will appear in our character's body. Wow, I'm really happy with this. And this one is just coming out of nowhere. I don't know who this is or what they're about, but I'm happy with the way that it's coming. All right, let's switch up the lights. I'm going to go to our display and change it to some black and white contrast real quick. And I'll actually go ahead and show my environment. And let's turn on shadows, because I just want to get some context in here. We should probably make the yellow glow as well, otherwise it looks like a computer. So let me get that yellow eyeball, and then also turn on the emissive track there. So go to emissive, turn up the emissiveness, and then set it to a yellow. Or a light, yeah, a light yellow or something. Just playing with that emissive track here. Alright, that might be too emissive, so I might just turn down the strength of that emissive track. Yeah, because that's a little too emissive. Let's turn down the strength of the emissive. Let's just turn it way down. We should go even further. Maybe we don't play with the emissive too much. I just want to still see the shape of the eye even if it's dark around the character. He says, oh, the lava crystal has to give some specular reflection. No? It's got some speculars in there for sure, but we can always add more. Yeah, it's going to be a little tough because I'm probably going to do refraction through this, and I can't really show refraction very smoothly in real time. So my intention is I'm going to add refraction to it. So it's going to actually bend the light as it's going through that lava texture on the top there. But yeah. Let's see, we got our exposure. Let me try a different studio lighting. Cool. Cool. All right, I found one thing I might want to add, and that would be, let me turn off the shadows real quick. One thing I might want to add to the scene is skin texture on the underbelly part. So I actually have a lizard skin, which might be perfect for this. So if I look up Liz, where's my lizard? There we go. We got lizard scales, and then we have lizard skin. I'm going to try lizard scales and apply that onto the character. And then we'll go to our property panel, turn down the scale of our lizard skin. Nice, 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 nice. And then we're going to add a black mask. I'm just going to paint the lizard skin texture on all the areas that are on the bottom parts of the model. I won't do the chin because the chin looks like it's a different kind of problem. Actually, you know what? We could do a tri-planar. So let me just kind of paint around here, and then we'll set this layer to tri-planar projection. That way it ignores my poorly done UVs that were going to interrupt the bottom faces there. And we can still play with the scale and everything. Nice, so we get a nice little texture going for us.